Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday morning real estate marketing show with Ruthie Rocks, Ruth Allbrand, and I am Marketing Max. This is episode 104. 104. I can't believe it's been 2 years since we started this show already. And, this is the last show of the year and obviously the last weekend of the year. So 2020 is quickly approaching us. I know everybody's enjoying some of their time with their family or maybe not enjoying so much, depending on how much you like your family. But, now's the time to really start reflecting on what you've done well last year, what could be better next year, and really set the tone for the future. And in today's show, Ruth and I were going to talk about, building a strategy for 2020 so that, you really make it the best possible year of your real estate career. So before we dive into all that stuff, Ruth, what's happening in Las Vegas?
Well, I just have one little snippet I want to say about
Sure.
show 104.
Okay.
First of all, I cracked a tooth, so my lower lip may not move because I got it glued to something glued on my tooth. But anyway, life goes on, the show goes on. But 104 is an important number for me because I've always tell my doctor that that's how long I'm going to live, till I'm 104. So I love that number.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
and
Okay.
and so somebody said to me, "Well, why 104?" And I said, "Okay, 104, maybe more, but at least 104."
At least 104.
So I've got
Yeah,
another 32 years for
fantastic.
you to put up with me.
I have a client actually in my day job that says, like, I'm gonna live to 140. I think he's like 80 something, but he's so vibrant and he really pays attention to what he eats and exercises. So yeah, when people put in their mind to do something, I
Yes.
wouldn't put it past him. So
Yeah,
104
yeah.
or more, it is, Ruth.
It is, right. And I want to say hello to Leslie Reese, and thank you so much this year for watching us so often and supporting us. It means
Yes,
so
thank
much
you
to
very
see that,
much.
that people are actually listening to us. And I think I got Jeff there. Jeff in Vegas. He's another one of our regulars. And I
Right.
want to just shout out and thank Jeff and Leslie. They seem to pop up right away, and they watch and listen. And
No,
I
that's
think
fantastic.
maybe one day we'll have them both on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So start
Absolutely.
thinking about what you want to say.
Right. Or what you learned, after watching us throughout the years here to see and your strategy for 2020.
Yes. So let's get started with the stats because they're interesting to me from a couple standpoints. So in 2019, year to date, we've done 39,000 transactions, and I think what did we say last week, about 115 a day, something like
Hmm.
that. And the interesting thing is that 7 of the top 10 this year are iBuyer platforms. And
Wow.
I think everybody has to pay attention to that.
Right.
And they did over 1,000 transactions year to date. And to put things into perspective, and I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to come back to how many. I'm going to show Aaron Taylor's change and put things in perspective for everybody, because Aaron Taylor, everybody knows him, and he is the next after the top 10. He is actually the first realtor that does 6%, not 1%. He's not a builder, and he's not an iBuyer
Hmm.
platform, so he's next on the list. So everybody knows, the Aaron Taylor jingle.
Yeah.
Don't sing it because I won't get it out of my
Right.
head.
You will get rid of it for the entire weekend. Right.
So in 2018, we did 40,000 transactions for an average price of 305. This year, did I mention the average price was 323? Not a big difference.
Hmm.
Appreciation, that's good, right?
Yep.
And in 2018, 3 of the top 10 were iBuyer platforms. So they've more than doubled their position,
More
everybody.
than
Just
doubled.
got to
Right.
know that. Right. They've more than doubled their positions. And so in 2019, Aaron was number 12 with 209 year-to-date transactions. Okay. In 2018, okay, he was number 10 with 220 transactions.
Hmm.
So here's the difference: 90,000 in commissions. That's huge in
Wow.
from 2018 to 2019. 90,000 in commissions, paid commissions, different.
Right.
So if people don't think that the iBuyer platforms are making a difference, you know, they are. They
Right.
are.
Right.
Three out of the top 10 in 2018 and 7 out of the top 10 in 2019. So we have to get our act together, and we're gonna, I keep repeating and repeating and repeating. We go on the offense for these
Right.
to fight these guys. So today we want to talk about, some strategy that we can have. And I think I was mentioning to you earlier that psychologists say they tell us two things. And they tell us that if we hear something and we write it down, our retention goes up.
Hmm.
That's what they say. Psychologists also say that if we hear something and we write it down, we give ourselves psychological permission to forget what we wrote down.
Right.
So which one works for you guys? I mean, uh, it's all about what works for you, is
Right.
my point about saying that. It's all about what works for you. So if taking notes works for you, take notes. Don't worry about what other people think. That's the other thing I always
Right.
say, because
Right.
Gary Vee taught me that.
Right.
So if the market comes first for you, target that part of the market that you're going to go after. And I've got to go after the second thing then, which comes, you have to have tactics, strategies, which equal a system.
Hmm.
Okay, so goals and a business plan, these should be your systems. So I'm sure you have a tactics and strategy in even in your daily job,
Right. Right.
right?
You have
So
to.
you have to. And so if I ask you to show me your business plan right now, could you show it to me, Leslie? Jeff, could you show me your business plan
Mm.
right now? And is it in writing? If for you, is it in writing? Is it a system? So reducing it to writing makes it clear. And it's almost like accountability. If it's in
Sure.
writing, there's some accountability factor involved in writing down your plans and your goals. So a lot of people have their goal too broad. So here's my advice. My advice is that you create a weekly plan that has daily components in it,
Yep.
which is a tactic. And it's a tactic because then your plan can stop when you have a client, and you can resume that plan when you're without a client. And because you're going to repeat your tactics, repetition, right? You're going to repeat your tactics, and you got to be able to stop and start them. And if they're not clearly defined, it's going to be difficult to do that.
Right.
And when you look at the results that you're getting, it helps you stay focused and it helps you stay motivated. Do you agree with that, Max?
Well, absolutely. You have to be specific with your goal. I mean, I like having a broad goal, but you have to drill down to how you're going to accomplish that goal from a daily activity standpoint, or else you'll go astray. And one of the methods, and this is something I learned maybe 15 years ago. I think, yeah, 15 years ago at a seminar that was kind of cool to utilize. If you're not utilizing a calendar right now in some sort, some fashion, and knowing what you're doing that day before you start your day, you're losing to the top. You'll never be a top salesperson, period. I mean, if you don't know what you're going to do before the day starts, you're way behind already. But one of the things that people, kind of get used to doing and falling into the trap of is like just writing down tasks, right? And naming it something like mundane, like, do cold calls. So if you're just a personal driver and you have no problem doing that, or doing, door knocking, or FISBO calls, whatever. But one of the things you can set on your daily tasks is name it something else. Like, name it something specific that has, like visceral kind of value to you emotionally. Like, so instead of naming it, calling out on FISBOs or cold calling, you can name it like reach something like making cash for, you know, the next vacation, making cash for your car, making cash for, you know, a great gift for your wife or husband, whatever, right? And underneath that, write the actual task, but associate something that like is a driver for you personally to those daily tasks and name it that. And then underneath it, name the actual task. So that helps you motivate and gives you the reason why you're doing what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
So
that's an excellent point. And a lot of people, you know, your goals go in front of you and your accomplishments go behind you.
right.
And that you have to think about a little bit, because a lot of people like to rest on their laurels and then they don't pick up and resume their tactical list of tasks.
Yeah, absolutely. The most here's the differentiator that goes from a good salesperson or a good person at the career to a great person is once a good person, once they hit success, they take their pedal off the gas. They're like, I'm here. Right. A great, you know, salesperson's business person, real estate agent, they see that goal and they accomplish that. And then they stop and evaluate, how can I incrementally make what I just did 1, 2, 3% better? Right. So I can accomplish a couple things. One, that same task with less energy and more efficiency, or do more of that, right, in the same span of time. So that's what you need to once you hit the goal, that's the things that you need to think about when you know, try to hit, because the hardest part is when you're in front. I can tell you it's easy to, when you don't see another person. I'm one of the, I used to be one of those guys. Like when I'm ahead of the pack and I don't see anybody to stretch for, right, I'll pull back. And that's, you know, I probably left hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million on the table in my sales career because of that attitude and philosophy. And I can tell you that today, that's not the case anymore.
No. So look at, you know, you can look at the best business plan and it's killer, right? And, but you can look at the best map, but it's not going to make the journey for you.
No, exactly right.
You got to implement the tactics and the strategies, and you still got to do those. And, you know, look in the mirror right now and say, hey, this is way too basic for me. It sounds basic, everyone, but it isn't. And well, or it is basic, and that's
It is
really
basic.
and that's really the best part of it.
The
Right?
best part of it, the most, what is it? Occam's razor. Usually the most simple idea or solution ends up being the absolute right solution. And, you know, I look at the book, you know, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That was one of like a major book in my life that turned my, you know, philosophies around. And like the book talked about stuff like smile, don't make people wrong, agree with them. I mean, it's just common sense stuff, but everybody, you know, we forget. And the consistency of doing those things is what makes it so powerful. So,
well, and now let me just, I love that you said consistency, because the fastest way, in my experience, is to increase your income is to improve your self-esteem.
absolutely.
And when you do things consistently, and I was just telling Max before we started the show today, I only did 2 runs this week. Well, the weather was very inclement, but this morning, man, I was out there. I didn't care. I was going to be the mailman, you know, rain, sleet, hail, I'm out there. And it was freezing cold when I got up and did it, very windy. But you know how good I felt because I did
Yeah,
that? And I
absolutely.
felt I'm back on my consistency path, because I didn't
Right.
feel good Christmas Day. I didn't run. Thursday I didn't run. Yesterday I didn't run. 3 days this week I didn't run, and I didn't feel good. But when I do something that I know I'm improving myself, my
Absolutely.
self-esteem goes up.
Absolutely.
And it's the same
Absolutely.
thing with a business plan. And psychologists have proven that over and over and over again, that the fastest way to increase your income is to improve your self-esteem.
Right.
And
And I'm reading a book by Phil Knight right now called Shoe Dog. It's basically his story on how he started Nike. And in the story he talked about Prefontaine, which was you know, an Oregon runner that was one of the best. He's like historically famous long distance runner. He was one of the very best in the world. And he said that he saw the different, why was this guy so much better than everybody else. And when he saw him run and spent time with him, apparently the number one component was he was just so confident in his ability to do things. Like he had such high self-esteem on himself, not in an arrogant, like I'm better than you way, but he just knew that he could push himself to the limits further and further and further. And that was the one component why he made him an Olympic. I think he was an Olympic champion. I don't know the history of Prefontaine, but I know he's pretty famous. So to your point, Ruth, that's key. And the next question is like, how do you build that confidence? How do you build that self-esteem going into 2020 so that you can execute on the strategies, with consistency? Is my question for you, Ruth. Do you have an answer for that?
How to do it?
Yeah. How do you build that confidence?
Repetition, doing it. I mean, the answer's in your question, in my opinion, because how I do it is is repetition. And that makes me confidence. That gives me confidence. You know what I say earlier? I said, I want to live to 104. So I know one of the key components of doing that is exercise. So what gives me the ability and confidence that I'm going to live to 104 is I'm doing the things that are going to get me there. Everybody knows I eat broccoli every day. I don't eat red meat because it doesn't agree with me. I take my vitamins. I work out. If you look at my house, I have no carpet in my house because I think that carpet exudes some type of a gas that may or may not be good for you, right? I change my pillows all the time. Everything. I use hair products that have no toxins in them. I don't put lotions on my skin because they put your skin's the biggest organ in your body.
Yep.
So I'm very careful, about what I put on my skin. A dermatologist that we went to in November said, Ruth, I can't believe you live in the desert. Nobody in the desert has skin like you.
Right. Right.
So I protect everything I do in my life. I am consistent with my goal to live to be 104.
Yeah, absolutely.
It gives me confidence. And I'll tell you the funny thing about it, of course, positive thinking. I know that if every day I eat broccoli, I'm not going to get cancer and I'm going to live to be 104 and I'm going to have quality of life.
Right.
And so that's how I answer your question. And I think that you can reduce that down to business. And for business, for me, the biggest thing, and this is the secret to success if you're a real estate agent, in my opinion, is that you have got to understand that referrals are the goal of your entire end game.
Yes.
You have to build a business totally to get referrals. And if you do that consistently, you've won.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole key and why, that 1,000 number in your database is so important, because off of those 1,000 names, you can branch out, tens and 20s and thousands of people that will come through that funnel of people that you built over time. And you got to develop a system and strategy and word tracking, right? And training your clients and past clients on, to think about you when they think about, when they hear their friends and family thinking about buying real estate. And so this is the whole point of what we do with this show, is how do you sell a system and a process to do that this coming year? Because if you're not doing it, this last year, 3 out of 10 iBuyer platforms take the top 10. Now 7 out of 10 this year. Next year, who knows? Aaron Taylor might be the only one left in the top 10.
Right.
Right. And, they could take over the whole top 10 spots. And that costs Aaron $90,000 in commissions this year. I can only imagine what it costs the people that are doing 1-2 transactions a month.
Yeah.
50% of their commissions, so.
That's incredible. Yeah. If you're going to be in the real estate business, you need to build a referral business as fast as you can. And I'm here to tell you, because I was at his party on December 6th that he held for his clients, Aaron did, over 200 clients. And everybody and not everybody, but Yvonne went around and got testimonials from the people that were there. And they all said the same thing. I just played golf with Aaron last week. Aaron and I went out for lunch, like last month. He stays in constant contact with his database.
Right.
And
Right.
he lives by referrals. He gets 20 to 30 referrals. I mean, do you know how much money that is? That's over a
Right.
$250,000 a year just in referral business. And most of us could live off of that. I know I
Right. Exactly right. And one of the things that Aaron said last week in last week's show, which I didn't get a chance to bring out, but which is very key, is just because you sold a person a home once or twice or whatever, or three times or four times, don't forget that your job is always to continuously sell them on your professionalism and your ability to continue to help them. Right. Just because a sale and a transaction happened and they've been you through years, do not get lax. That's what I love about Aaron, right? He goes into every presentation exactly the same. He treats his friends, his colleagues, his referral partners, all the same from a professional, strategic standpoint, and reminds them that he's the real estate guy. Right. And when you deal with the real estate guy, you're going to get a consistent product and service out of him. And that's something that we can't forget. That's something in my business that I don't forget. And that, what I pushed for my company is that our job, in retaining clients is to always remind them and sell them on why they chose us and the product and value that they're getting from us in every transaction, in every interaction. You cannot forget that, because people have short memories, and with the amount of distraction and advertising and product placement that they have in this world at their fingertips right now, you can be forgotten, even by your own mother.
That's funny, but that's
The
true.
truth.
So, and to your point, people get in this business, they get a license. And they think, oh, wow, I'm a real estate agent. I'm a realtor. I have a license. Well, your experience only comes with practice and action.
Right.
If you don't go out there and talk to people, you have to be social. You have to be social in person, in writing, and on the internet, which, is my, where I love to live.
Right. Right.
And one of the social standards that apply in our classes is that everybody knows everybody. Everybody that knows someone.
Yeah.
We had sushi at a restaurant. I think I might have told you this last week. And John picked up a client because his real estate agent didn't pay attention to him. He's looking for something, not the easiest thing to find, but one day it's going to pop up, and we know that. And we told him that. We said, it's not going to be easy. He said, that's fine. I'll just keep saving my money. And so he came in. We actually met with him Christmas Eve. He came into the office. We met with him. We found a house that he was, the first time he said somebody's found him a house that he could at least consider.
Right.
Unfortunately, the people are going to take the house off the market because their sale's contingent upon another sale that seems to be falling apart. But they do want to sell. So the secret there is you keep in touch with that agent and then that has the seller, and then you keep in touch with our buyer. And our buyer was so impressed just by the fact that, first of all, we're there on Christmas Eve.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And we were willing to go and show the house the day after Christmas without him because he had to work. We were going to go preview it for him. Okay. And he, while at our office on Christmas Eve, he called a coworker of his and said, you've got to use these people.
Wow. There you go.
They go above and beyond. Now, first of all, it was a cold client in a restaurant. He was a waiter.
Right.
And John said, if you were to buy or sell real estate, do you have a real estate agent that you would use? And he said, well, funny you should say that, because the real estate agent I'm using isn't helping me.
Right. Right.
And John said, well, if things don't get better, give us a call. Within 4 days, he called us. So
there you go.
I mean, it's a contact sport. You've got to talk to people. You have to be social. Everybody knows everybody.
Exactly right.
Yes. So it's amazing. If you're
and you just, great about that story is John was prepared with what to say, right?
Yes.
And he was met by opportunity. That's luck happening in real life right there. And so, and that's a great story. That's a great story.
Necessity is the mother of invention, and repetition is the mother of learning. So you just keep repeating and repeating what works.
Yeah.
Right.
Repetition is the mother of skill, as Tony Robbins says. Repetition is the mother. I have a tip, before we go on to the self-confidence, because I consider myself a little connoisseur on confidence because of the history and the track record I have. But one of the strategies that I have for building extreme confidence is make small. I think the number one component, and it comes down to your consistency, is the number one component to having high confidence and high self-esteem is having 100% integrity. Right. And what I mean by integrity is when you say something, you do it. You follow up with action, no matter how big or how small you think it is. Because if you can't follow through on a small act. Say, for instance, I make my bed every morning. I do two things in the morning every day, right? Consistent as long as I can remember now, more than 2 years on the second thing, but two things. One, I make my bed every day. Right. My wife used to make the bed. I told her I'm going to make the bed every day. Right. I already start the day being successful, right, by making my bed. And there's a YouTube video of a general that talks about this in the army and stuff like that. And it's so true because psychologically, I've done and accomplished something that I promised myself I would do every day. And the second thing I do, and I get ribbed about this at my work, is because I gave a speech on it one time at one of my company events, is I take a cold shower in the morning. Right. I hate it every time. It's not like I'm like happy to do it. You can ask my wife. I'm like, I sometimes have to pump myself up to turn on the shower, but there's a reason I do it. One, cold water is much better for you than hot water. Two, it instantly activates and changes your physiology like nothing else can. Not coffee, not anything. Right. You go under some cold water, your body, your mind changes instantly. Period. But the second thing I do is the second effect that I love about it is I'm training my body and my mind to let them know that I'm in control of my body, my mind every day. I don't want to do it. I hate it. Right. But it doesn't matter. I have a goal to accomplish. Right. And as simple as making sure I take this cold shower every morning. But what that does is I really win the day before the day even starts psychologically for me. Right. Because I've done two things. One thing that's really easy, making your bed. That's really easy. No one, everybody can do that. And the second thing is like, I'm doing something that I hate to do, but I know is good for me. And I'm enjoying the benefits. My morning routine right now is so in tune with how I have my coffee and my cold shower that my mind is so crystal clear in the morning. Right. Even if I get like 4 hours or 3 hours of sleep, make my bed, cold shower, I can tell you I'm going to win the day. And so my whole point in telling you this is like, what can you do? What little promises can you tell yourself that you're going to do every single day that you can follow through and deliver every day? Right. And what that does, it trains your own personal voice inside your mind that, you know what, you can do this. And when something hard in your life, comes into your life, that voice that you've been training to tell you that you can do this will appear again and say, you can do this. It'll help you through some of the toughest times and the toughest challenges of life. But it all starts consistency on a daily basis through small tasks, right? So I challenge everybody in 2020, what can you tell yourself, or what little promises can you make to yourself every single day that you can deliver on, so that you can continue to train your psychology and your mindset to let you know that you're in control of your mind and body, and that you can win the day before the day starts. And once you win the day before the day starts, anything that comes into your day, it doesn't matter. You can do it.
Yes.
Right. So
and
that's
that's why
my little tidbit.
And that's why I run every morning. But
right.
All behavior is driven by outcome, Max, even bad behavior.
Yeah.
When I behave badly, it's because I'm looking for some payoff. When I behave well, it's because I'm looking for some payoff.
Right.
And how many think there's some room for improvement over your last 6 months, for the next 6 months? And I can promise everybody, if you're doing your strategy, there'll be improvement, and you'll see it. You'll see it and you'll feel it. And there's a rhythm to life. There's a rhythm to life. All great literature, there's rhythm. In great music, there's rhythm. In a great life, there's a rhythm. Now, if you're content with your business, it's okay to be content.
Sure. Absolutely.
Most of my things today are coming from a video that I probably watched Jimmy Dag. I probably watched it 10 times. And, one of the funny things he said is that you can cut a tree down with a hammer, but it's not the best tool to use.
Yeah, correct.
And so make no mistake, in real estate, the best tool you have is a referral. So I think that for 2020, your end game, your goal in your whole, not just 2020, but moving
Entire business, right?
your entire, build your business plan and all your goals around referrals. So those daily tasks become easy to write those notes, to make those calls, to go out and meet people, because you're going to build a business around referrals. And if you think about it, then you have something like Aaron Taylor, segueing back to him. 200 people showed up at his Christmas party. Those were people who he has done business with. He has built his business around referrals. He will never that he will go on forever with that type of referral business.
Exactly right. If Facebook goes away, if YouTube goes away, if Instagram goes away, it won't hurt him. It won't hurt Aaron Taylor, right? And that he's built a solid foundation in doing that. And I agree with him. You have to couple, what we do here and teach you about, social media marketing and online marketing and digital marketing with actual interactions face to face, and phone to phone with people. I mean, you cannot leave that behind, because at the end of the day, I mean, people still like doing business with people they know, like, and trust. And people know, like, and trust more people when they can see them in person or hear their voice in person than they can over the internet. So you got to use the combination of what he does, and he's got a good formula. And if he just, what's great about Aaron is, he's one of those guys that is always constantly, thinking about different ways to improve his business. And that's why he advertised too. I mean, he probably can shut out all advertising right now and just on his referral basis run a really good business. But he understands the power of staying in front of people, and that's why he puts out the jingle everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and now he's even thinking about even branding himself even more. And that's the other thing. Aaron's always thinking about, how can I be in front of more people, because everybody knows everybody. And thank you, Jimmy Dague, for that inspirational video that you did. I posted it on Agent Formula if everybody would like to watch it. And it's a great advertisement for him and for what Jimmy and I are going to do in the future with delivery, with content, and with credibility, and teaching people, how to build a business around referral. And it's I think it's the most basic, easiest thing to do.
Yes. And the most basic, easiest thing usually is the right thing to do. And so, I mean, we've been saying this for years now, is like that 1,000 name database, right? Of qualified people who've bought homes, who've done business with you, who've, is your number one goal in your real estate career. As fast as you can get to those 1,000 names, then what you do literally each week, there's a program on the mortgage side. I forgot what it was called, but some guy out of like the Midwest, some Army guy. It's great. The core, core training, and they do real estate training too. But he talks about, like, every week on a Monday, you got to make 25 to 50 calls to your, real estate agents, right? Every Monday, 25 to 50 calls. You do that 52 weeks a year. And, your whole goal is to get meetings for the rest of the week, but you do that every year. But 1,000 names breaks down to roughly about 20, if you have 1,000 names in your database, and every week on a Monday, or one day of the week, you make a call out to 25 people every Monday, right? And ask them if you were thinking about, or if someone that's thinking about buying real estate, who would you use? And just ask them that question and call them consistently, right? You'd literally be calling your entire database in the entire year. And if you really want it up to 10, do 100. In your early part of your career, try to make 100 calls in the week. I forgot what Aaron's number was, but the more contacts you make that way. And one of the breakdowns that people have psychological, like, oh, I'm going to bother people, and they're not going to want to pick up my phone call. Guess what? In the beginning, maybe the first 3-4 times they'll think that, but on the 15th and 20th voicemail, where you've left them a voicemail, say, hey, this is Max over here at whatever real estate firm you're with. If you were thinking about buying or selling a real estate, hope you think about me, or if you know anyone, and refer them to me, you just become part of their life now, and they're going to admire you for that. Right? Wow. I haven't picked up the phone in 15 attempts that this guy's calling me, and he's still doing it. And if you do that over a span of 2 years, I can tell you the reputation that you build. Right. And one of the greatest things I love about this economy that we're in right now, where it's really good still, right? Yeah. Everybody's making money. Everything's coming a little easy right now. But I can tell you, this is where you can easily stand out by being a professional.
Yes.
Right. Because people are sitting on their laurels. They're not working as hard as they should be working. Right. And the professionals will stay professional. But there's a lot of people who are, they don't really care right now because the money's easy. And now is such a great time for you to show up professionally with consistency, a strategy, and a plan, and you will set yourself up for decades to come in this business.
Yes, which is your goal, is to keep that referral business alive. And when you call someone, you say, "Hey, Max, this is Ruth. I'm calling about a business idea or a business question." Let's see. So I might say, "Hey, Max, this is Ruth. I have a business question." First, if you were to buy or sell real estate or know someone who does, would you still use me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, once whatever he says, then you say, "So now how's your family?"
Right.
Get personal then. But always, if you're calling somebody for a reason and it's business, tell them that.
Right. And
because people don't like the bait and switch.
Right, exactly. And Aaron taught us that, right? Aaron said that on the show, like always call with the business first. So people aren't, because if you start with the personal stuff, I'm on the other line in the back of my head. It's like, why is he calling me? He didn't just call me to ask me about my wife or my kids right now out of the blue on a Monday morning, and then when they roll, they're distracted by that noise on the front end here. And so regardless of what you're trying to do, it's not going to hit home with them because of that distraction. And when you start out with, "Hey, I'm calling for a business reason first," then they're like, "Oh, okay, the elephant's out of the room. I can breathe." Okay. Yeah. "Oh, okay, real estate? No, I'm not thinking about it right now." Or, "Yes, but actually, our other real estate agent just kind of disappeared on us, and I'm glad you called." Or, "I'm not thinking about it right now, but definitely keep you in mind." Right? They can verbally say that to you. You have a moment of consistency, identity for them to commit to you, and then you talk about their family, and it becomes much more relaxing, and they can actually feel free to kind of let their hair down a little bit and their defenses down. That strategy. So, yes.
The other thing, because when we mention phone calls, I know people think, well, people don't answer their phones anymore. Okay, fine. If you believe that, then don't call them. Text them. Text them a video. "Hey, this
text
is
them a video.
I'm reaching out to you because it's 2020 and I've changed my business plan, and I'm going to contact my sphere of influence more and more this year. And I'm reaching out to you just to see if you have any needs for real estate or know someone who does. And I hope your family's doing well. Please reach out to me when you have time." Something like that. It's so easy. I mean, I'm just saying this stuff off the top of my head. I haven't even scripted it,
30 years of experience helps with that, Ruth. But
yeah.
But here's an idea for 2020, right? If I still love open house strategy, right? Like the more open houses you do, the more business you do, just period, and the more bigger your database becomes. But here's a strategy. I love stacking things, like meaning I love utilizing the same amount of time to do multiple things. And so if you're sitting at an open house, I mean, make it a goal this year to do 52 open houses, right? One a week, right? 26 if you want, to start off slow. But there's a lot of dead time at open houses before, after, in the middle.
You'd be right? You could never work for me, Max.
Right.
I mean, you'd be out there doing open houses every day,
right?
For 90 days.
I'm just pining to our audience here, but during that open house, here's what you can do is like take a list of 25 names, right? Or 50 names. And during your slow time, that's what you do. What's more powerful, the psychology of why this is so appealing to me, is that you're actually doing your work in the field and then making the video right? Asking them, right? Like, hey, I'm at an open house right now, and I
Yeah.
just thought about you and wanted to make sure that, if you were thinking about or selling, think about buying or selling real estate, that
You
you
still
keep me
remember
in
me.
mind, right? That you still remember me,
Yeah.
joke about it, like make it funny every once in a while, right?
Exactly.
And if you haven't talked to them in a year, it could be even funnier. I know that you probably don't know who I am now, because I haven't seen you or talked to you in a year, but I'm at a open house. But what you're doing is, when you're doing the reach out, right? Video text. I love it. I can tell you, if you don't
Yeah.
believe people pick up their phone, I'm a person, though. I'll leave them a voicemail, text them, and send them a video text and an
Yes.
email, right?
Right.
Don't do just one thing,
Right.
but do it while you're at an open house. Demonstrate to them that you're working, right?
Yes.
That's stacking and making it even more powerful. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
do one
And
a day, 300 open houses,
yes.
according to Ruth.
Yeah. Well, I know a man who did it. He's making millions
And
now.
making millions. I mean, there you go.
But and the fastest way to increase your income is to increase your self-esteem. And when you actually drill down your goal to a daily list of things to do that can be interrupted by buying or selling a client, and then picked back up again the next moment that you're not with that client, then you have the map for success, and you will succeed. Rinse and repeat. Just keep doing it, but make your goal into a daily task list,
Right.
because and that can be repeated and stopped and started.
Right. And even when you're sick, even when you're feeling doubtful yourself, by having a plan in place, you can at least still show up to do it. Right. One of the things that I love about how I run my business is, like, before I go into the office every week, I know every hour of every day is already planned out. Like, I don't guess what I'm doing in my job. And the way I've done it is, I've hired, the company graciously hired an appointment setter for me. So I
Wonderful.
block out the times of when I want the appointments, and she just goes in, and I'm booked out like a month out. Right. So even when
That's
I
great.
don't want to show up for work because I'm tired or whatever, that cold shower, make my bed every morning, right? I get in the office and something switches on, and I go through it. And because, I've had so much consistency over the last like 3-4 years in this business doing this, like, my confidence level is so high because of it. And there's nothing a client can say or, whatever, and that can throw me off because of the level of confidence I have in my own abilities today. But it all starts with those two little things that I do, and I've been doing for a long period of time on a daily
Yes.
basis.
Yes. So deliver value, have content that gives the value, and get credibility, and build your referral business. That should be your goal, to
Number one
build.
goal.
Number one goal. And your database is gold, and we all know those who use the gold rule. So that's my new. I switched that little.
Okay.
Yeah,
Those that use the gold rule. All
there you
right.
go.
All right. All
That's a
right.
Ruthism.
All right. Ruthism.
Yeah.
So when's the next
Uh,
class here, Ruth? We're heading
oh,
up.
it's right around the corner. Um, I was so excited about our show today that I didn't do the dates on screen, but it's January the 8th, 9th, and 10th. It's the first full week of every month, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 to 2 at the 8400 West Sahara B Social Savvy Training Center. And you go to agentformula.com and go to the training tab, and you'll see all the training that we have, and you can sign up for as much as you want. And we have Jimmy Daig there twice this coming month, and Jimmy and I are going to get together and strategize how we can make that Be Social Savvy Training Center a stop for everybody this year, because we are going to be providing so much education and so much help for all the real estate agents so that they can increase their business. And this is going to be, to me, this is how I think of 2020. Everybody, I think 2020 is a pivotal year. I think we're going to look back, and it's going to be one of the best years for real estate since what, 2008?
05. It was one of the greatest years in Vegas real estate.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. But I just think I always think of 2008 because of the foreclosures. But
Right.
yeah, but
Well, for some
but to
people,
your point,
2008
yeah.
was fantastic, and for others, it was detrimental. But some people built basically the last decade of their career
But
on being successful during that period of time.
But I truly believe that we have an opportunity in 2020 to make it one of our best years ever. And I think that it's pivotal in that people are excited about Las Vegas, $24 billion worth of projects. We
Mhm.
have almost 4,700 people moving here every month. Rentals are flying off the shelf. The monthly rents have increased, so investors could be a good target. People are buying, people are selling, people are renting, people are coming here, and the economy backs us up. The population's increasing, consumer confidence is high.
Mhm.
All these factors are like a perfect storm for people who want to really make this their best year, to make it their best year.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to do everything I can to help them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So first week of January, what, 8th, 9th, and 10th, you said?
Yes, 10 to
8, 9,
2,
10 to 2, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So
free
show up
breakfast.
this year.
Yeah.
The best investment you'll ever make that will return the most is yourself, the investment you have in yourself. Did we do that last week?
I
Was
don't
that a
know.
quote from last week? Someone told me that quote.
What is it? Say it again.
So the best investment you'll ever make is the investment you make in yourself, right?
Oh, I said that.
Yeah, it'll always yield the best
As
returns,
it yields the best interest.
the best interest, right?
And
So,
actually, I took it from Ben Franklin.
right, Ben Franklin, right? That's another key pivotal. I mean, class. I know we're digressing here on the last show, which is rambling, but another key kind of life-changing moment for me was taking a Franklin Covey class on uh, like the 7 habits of the 7 habits of successful people. And one of the things that Ben Franklin talked about was, and how he built his own self-confidence was having his 13 values that he lived by, right? So he defined basically, just philosophical values in life that he believed in. And basically, he lived his entire life based on those values. And if anything, any decision that came into his path that went against those values, he would not do it. Any person that didn't agree with those values, he wouldn't do business with them, or he wouldn't have relationships with them, right? He built an entire roadmap for himself to easily make decisions for everything that comes into his life. And I remember doing that. And from that moment on, that's, coupled with, reading Tony Robbins stuff. But that one Franklin Covey class in 2004 basically changed the trajectory of my life. So,
And I'm trying to do
anyways,
that. I'm trying to change people's lives.
that's that. You
I
are.
really am.
You're
I
not
really am.
trying. You're not trying, Ruth. You are. So, but
And
any
I'm not,
last words?
well, I'm not a piece of cake. If you're coming to my class, I'm not a piece of cake. I'm very passionate about what you should do and how often you should do
She's
it.
lying, everybody. She's a teddy bear.
Yeah, right. No.
She's trying to be tough. Come
Uh,
on, we can see right through it, Ruth. You're
oh, I get some comments. Oh, Max, it's been a wonderful year with you,
Yes.
and just can't thank you enough for making me accountable.
No, same here. It's been really fun. I can't believe 2 years have gone by since we came up with this idea. And one of the things I want to share with everybody our thoughts behind this, right? And you're like, we don't get a lot of live audience views, right? I mean, that's something that we never really strive to do. I mean, that's an eventual goal, and that's a great outcome. What keeps us going is we know what we're talking about is going to help you without a shadow of a doubt in our mind, right? And if one person watches this and they go out and implement it and have success, right, that ripple effect is beyond that one person, just like the referral in your database. And we do this show is a labor of love from both of us, because we care about Las Vegas, right? And we both live here in Las Vegas, and we want everybody to thrive, because when everybody thrives, things are good, are great, right? When everybody's making money and pushing hard and doing what they're supposed to be doing in their profession, right? This town booms. And so, we want to say thank you for those that have been tuning in. Leslie, Larissa, thank you for making that comment. For everybody that's joined in, for all the guests that have come over this year, it does make a difference, and our goal primarily is always, we believe in what Gary says, the power of one, right? We can affect one person's life, right? We know the effects will ripple way past that one person. So we thank you for tuning in. We thank you for sharing your Saturday mornings if you're joining live, and whatever 45 minutes of rambling that you stay tuned for us. We want to wish you a tremendous, successful 2020. And remember, it all starts, have a big goal out there, but you got to translate that to daily, consistent task and strategies and tactics in order to meet that goal. And we want to help you do that through next year. And tune in next Saturday.
I love you all. Thank you so much.
Have a great week, everybody.